Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and today I am bringing you a 2 vs 2 in Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD. I think you guys are starting to realize what my favorite Total War mod is. This Medieval Kingdoms 1212 mod is just great. I love it. I've got a couple of Attila videos that I'll try to get out to you, as well as maybe another Medieval 2 video coming up within the next day or two as well. But yes, it's a 2 vs 2 on kind of this hilly slope here, and we've already got a charge from my ally into some of these armed peasants, as you can see, kind of breaking them down. Also some human archers being caught out of position. And it looks like we have a good charge from some of the mounted sergeants of the English king into the mounted écuyer of the Duchy of Burgundy. So while this is going on, it does take off pretty quickly, so I'm just going to try to run over the army compositions very quickly if I can. So starting with my army, I'm playing as the Principality of Serbia, and I've got 4 units of these mercenary German knights, very elite, and I have 2 units of halberdiers over on this flank, and then I've got 6 units of these Bachniks, so they're the best infantry that Serbia can bring. If we just kind of jump into their lines there so you can see what they look like. They look pretty elite. They've got really small shields though, so their missile block chance isn't the best. I've got 4 units of Serbian crossbowmen and 2 units of Serbian spearmen. And then I've got my general's bodyguard, the Serbian king over here. I'm going to put this on pause because it does get pretty hectic over here in a couple minutes. Looking at my ally, the Duke of Burgundy, so he's already got 2 units of mounted écuyer over here. And then he's moved and deployed up on this hill. So he's got a couple units of valet, he's got more mounted écuyer, he's got the Duke of Burgundy. And he has 4 units of écuyer crossbows and about 6 units of écuyer footmen. So a bunch of pretty much the same type of unit with these écuyers. They're pretty... or écuyer, I believe is how you would say it, but they're pretty solid infantry. They're not the best, because I think that the Duke of Burgundy is able to bring, I think, late period sergeants, and he's got some pavitier as well, like the big pavi spears. But they're pretty solid, this infantry. You can see they've got like little buckler shields and swords, and they're pretty heavily armored as well. Now, the big problem is that I didn't deploy up on the hill with him. I kind of wanted to have an even fight on the ground, so we'll see how that plays out for us later in the battle. You can see we've got the English over here as our first enemy. So he's got a lot of armored peasants over here. His human archers are breaking, but we've got 2 units of English nobles in against those mounted écuyer. He's got more English nobles here. He's got some Hanseatic infantry. And then he's got 4 units of heavy billmen, very, very cost-effective. And he has the English king of the late period. He's brought 4 units of sergeants, and then we're moving on to Portugal. So we got the Portuguese cav coming forwards, these equestres militares. But these guys look pretty awesome, I do have to say. I love kind of the Hospitaller Templar mix with the Portuguese colors. And he's got some Portuguese cavalry over here. Again, really awesome cavalry. I love these shields. And I've actually never seen this cavalry before. So they look really nice. They're like heart-shaped fields. They're like Valentine nights. Almost. And we've got some Mones Militares. We've seen them featured before. We got some Municipal Spearmen. They're pretty trash. They're not the best infantry. Or sorry, the best spears. They're pretty expensive too. And then we got some municipal archers. We got some more Mones Militares. And then over here we got some dismounted Portuguese knights. And more municipal spearmen. And more of the equestres militares for the cavalry. Let's just kind of jump down into these Portuguese knights. Yeah, these knights look pretty epic. If we go ahead and put it on play again, you can see them moving forwards. Really awesome. Okay, yeah, so the battle is going to start off very, very quickly. I'm going to put this on play so you can see. So I believe that I made a mistake right off the bat here. I've gone ahead and committed all of my cavalry into this engagement here. Let's zoom in and see the armed peasants just get destroyed. Yes. Yeah, so these mercenary German knights, they are pretty good cavalry. They can hold their own in melee for sure. And they carry a mace as well, which makes them pretty effective at piercing armor. But the problem is that I didn't really support them quickly enough. Here's another charge into some of these English nobles. That was a really good charge there. But I was just out of my element over here. I didn't really want to deploy into... Oh, yeah, sorry to interrupt myself, but yeah, good charge into my halberdiers with this unit of Portuguese knights here. So that's really, really tough to see. I didn't want to deploy on the hill, and the only reason for that is because you know, if this was real life, 100% I'd be deploying on that hill. But, you know, in gameplay, I kind of like to keep an even ground. Like, I don't like to be the person, as you guys know, I don't like to be the person who moves up onto the hill like that. Now, for newer players, it is a valid strategy because it kind of gives you the edge because you don't have to micro as much. But unfortunately, we were just kind of disengaged in our plans. So he will stay up on the hill for a little while, and I'm going to push forwards against pretty much both the Portuguese and the English. Now, I finally do have my halberdiers pushing in to these knights, but the problem is that there's still, you know, 2 units of cav over here that are not engaged. And here comes his billman as well. The English player is going to support his cav. He's got the same idea I do. So yeah, it's not looking good for my army already. Another unit of Portuguese cavalry is on its way as well to kind of, you know, wreak havoc on these mercenary German knights. Now, they are mercenaries, so if they die, I guess it's not a huge loss for Serbia themselves. But the problem is that, as I've always said, if you lose the cav engagement, you're in a bit of a pickle for the rest of the battle. And I'm way out of my element in this section over here. I do have to say we look much shinier, though. You can kind of see the battle line where, you know, the shiny German knights are meeting the English nobles. The billmen are pushing forwards as well. I probably should have pulled back my cav. It might have been the better option. But, you know, with medieval kingdoms, when you start to pull out your cavalry or infantry, it really, really depletes them quite heavily. So I really didn't think it was that worth it. But over on this flank, you can see that my ally is kind of moving down and peppering these municipal spearmen with archers. We've also, I hate it when it does that. I wanted to go over here and jump into this battle. Let's go ahead and pop this on slow motion again. So yeah, we do have the mounted Écuchés taking on some of these Écutres Militares. Now they're both tier 3, so they both should kind of do pretty evenly. I would have maybe sent a unit of spears down. Oh, he already is. Okay, yeah, so he's sending a unit of spears to come and help him in this engagement, which is a good plan. I don't know what the Portuguese infantry is going to do here. They're kind of just sitting here and waiting. So I'm not sure if they have any plans. We've got a unit of dismounted Portuguese nobles over here as well that aren't doing too much. But my ally is trying to help me out with his cav. You can see he's got a good charge into the sides of these municipal crossbowmen. But unfortunately, you know, the Portuguese player, he's got spears, he's got swords to be able to help defend. So it's not looking the best over on that flank. Also on this flank as well, you can see a lot of my infantry is starting to waver. My general is engaged in the battle as well. You can see him just over there against some mounted sergeants. Now my general should win that, and we've also got the English king in melee as well. But yeah, just a lot of my men breaking thanks to those billmen. I think that if those billmen weren't present, it's possible that, you know, my infantry with my cavalry would have won this cav engagement. But with the billmen, just no way. They're so good at just ripping apart cavalry. Yeah, so it's a tough sight over here to behold if you're rooting for the Principality of Serbia. Like I said, they do have really, really solid cavalry. The only problem is that it's very expensive. There were better cavalry choices than the mercenary German knights, but the mercenary German knights alone were a grand or 1,100, I think. So very, very expensive in low money battles. Looks like we got a charge over here into my poor crossbows. So that's what I mean. Just at this point now, I don't have any cav to be able to defend my flanks with. So that's going to make it pretty difficult to come back from that loss. But we do have some melee engagements over here. Luckily, my Bashniks are in shield wall, and these sergeants of the high period will not do as well as my Bashniks will. So the Serbian infantry will probably carry me to victory eventually here. The only thing is that they will not survive a rear charge from cavalry. I'm committing my spears back into the battle as well. And yeah, if I just push it up, you can see the victorious cavalry coming through the trees. Going for a nice charge. Probably running after some of my crossbows. I managed to get some good hits with my crossbows, though, before they charged in. You can see they're pretty depleted, this Portuguese cavalry. And I managed to pull my general back out of that battle, and I'm getting my halberdiers out of there as well. Because that's just a lost cause. I can't really hold against all of this. Over here, it looks like the municipal spearmen are being wrapped up on my ally, but he's again kind of just sitting back on that hill. I think he wants to keep that advantage to himself. Well, not like he's being selfish or anything. It's just that he doesn't want to come off the hill because then it's a level playing field, right? Especially since now the balance of power is against us. We're gonna have to be pretty careful on what we decide to do from this point on. But he kept wanting me to come back to the hill, but unfortunately I couldn't because all this infantry is engaged in melee now, and if I pull them out, they're just going to get slaughtered. Once my troops are engaged in melee, 9 times out of 10, that's where they stay. Even if it's my general. Because you don't want to try to pull your general out, and he dies when you pull him out, and he would have just been way better to continue the fight where he was. The Portuguese do look pretty cool, though, with the white. Yeah, I think just the main issue for me was just that I was kind of taking on pretty much 2 armies at once. And I am, holding valiantly, but yeah, you can see the BILLMEN over here are starting to break through. I've got my crossbows trying to fire into them. As well as over here, these heavy BILLMEN are going to be pushing on the sides of my Bashniks, who are in shield wall, but I'm just focusing them with every crossbowman I have left. But these BILLMEN were the bane of my existence in today's battle. It was just so frustrating how effective the English player was using them. And again with the cav too. I did manage to run him off with my general's bodyguard with the Serbian king, but he is wavering. So I have to be careful. I think that unfortunately the Hanseatic infantry was firing into my general, so that was frustrating to see. But yeah, my Bashniks are still holding, and here comes my ally. He's finally pushed off the hill, so he's going to try to get in range with his crossbows. And it is surprisingly still a close battle. It's pretty much 2,000 to 2,000 at this point. I was shocked to see that. I thought that we would be getting wrecked as soon as I saw my mercenary German knights breaking. I thought it would just have been a landslide of a victory for the English and Portuguese. But yeah, see, even little little units like this are causing me difficulty. This cav unit has come back from routing, and they've just charged right into my crossbows. That's going to cause me some headache. It's also silenced this unit of crossbows from firing as well. Here comes another unit of cav. Oh, it's just endless. Endless cavalry charges. Have mercy on the poor Serbs, please. Just moving on again into another unit of Serbian crossbows. Where's my general? I think that my general's broken. Yeah, I think he's been slain at this point. I did manage to get a couple units back to the lines that had managed to push back the Portuguese infantry. So I do have a little bit of infantry left. I've got this unit of spears that I'm trying to zone out this cav with, because I don't want it to get around and into the crossbows. Yeah, here we go. We've got some of the Portuguese infantry fighting now the Duke of Burgundy's soldiers. Here come my Bashniks. You can see the Serbians. I'm going to get a good flank into these Mones Militares. And also over here as well, you can see that my Serbians were victorious against another unit of Portuguese infantry. So I'm just going to engulf this unit over on this flank. So that is definitely good for us. We're fighting our hearts out at this point. We're not just going to be giving up. You can see, yeah, pretty healthy units of sergeants and Mones Militares. The one unit of sergeants is wavering already. And a lot of depleted infantry left. The only problem is these BILLMEN. The BILLMEN are still very healthy. We've got some cavalry over here. I managed to get some of my Serbian spearmen in behind the cavalry. It is starting to break them, but a nice charge from some more nobles. That's going to finish off these spears for good. We got some more cavalry from the Duke of Burgundy, though, coming in. Oh, they're just going to pull out of the engagement. That's pretty frustrating to see. Yeah, but the general is, the King of Portugal is in behind trying to clean up the crossbows. I believe... Yeah, the English king is also fighting over here. He's destroying the Duke of Burgundy, which is not good for us again. So yeah, this is what's left. But the balance of power is starting to dip out of our favor. But it's still 1,400 men to 1,300, so it's still very, very close. We've got 5 minutes left in the battle. Let's go ahead and zoom down and see what's going on over here. Unfortunately, these, like I said, these Equiche footmen are going to just tear apart this municipal spearmen. They're really not a good choice, especially for prolonged melee. Yeah, that looks like the dismounted Portuguese knights, the halberdier unit, they're carving through. Got the cav fighting just over the hilltop as well. So yeah, this battle has kind of just been all over. And look at this, for any of you guys that are, you know, Serbian players, these Bashniks, they held for so long in battle. I was really impressed with them. Oh, they've just broken, so I can't zoom back into them. But they were holding back like 2 units of BILLMEN, 2 units of sergeants, and they were being flanked around with 2 more units of BILLMEN. So their morale was definitely holding in there, even after my general was slain as well. And you can see here, yes, see the King of Portugal made a mistake. He actually pulled his king out of melee, and that caused his king to die. But we've got a nice charge from the English king and his knights into these valets, and that's broken them. So pretty much all kings are slain, except for the English king. He's still alive and kicking. Got a unit of valets here lined up, ready to hold against the onslaught of cav that inevitably will come. I think we've got some crossbows over here that are going to try to fire down on them as well. Let's zoom in there. Oh, yes. Excellent. Just cutting them down. Oh, he's actually aiming for the English king as well. Where are they charging into? A full unit of Ecochet footmen. That was a really successful charge, though, actually. That's surprising. I thought that would have kind of been nerfed. They only had like 10 or 12 men in that unit. That's what I'm saying. Even small units like this can be so effective. Unfortunately, the English king, he probably will not escape in this battle. Wonder where he is right now. Or he might already be dead. Not sure. Yeah, we've got some more cav charging into some more of the Ecochet footmen over here, but they're going to die as well. And here comes the BILLMEN. So this is pretty much the last of the attacking armies. And it's come down to so few numbers, you know, 500 men for us, 700 for the attackers. So it's still very, very close. Again, these Bashniks came back from routing, and I managed to get a rear charge onto these BILLMEN. Unfortunately, their morale is just terrible at this point because they've broken like 4 or 5 times. But they keep coming back to the fight, even with the general being slain. So, really impressed with them. But yeah, I think that if I had, I'd say two more units of crossbows, we would have won this battle. And the only reason I'm saying that is because these BILLMEN are what won the battle for the attackers. And they're out of cav at this point. So if I had 2 more units of crossbows to be able to just deplete these units of BILLMEN, it would have been a victory for us. But that's what I'm saying. It came down to so few numbers. Let's take a look at another. Yeah, 250 men to 500 men left. And unfortunately, this unit of Ecochet footmen, I would have tried to push them in a little bit sooner, only because they're just getting cut down by archers at this point. Oh, yeah. Yeah, just getting wiped out. Yeah, but look at that. A unit of BILLMEN is broken. See, it's just down to 2 units of BILLMEN and 3 units of archers. So like I said, two more units of crossbows for us, and it would have been a victory. Oh, he's got another unit over here, but it's so depleted. And what do we got? 1 unit of Mones Militares over here, kind of silencing those crossbows. But yes, what a battle. So, definitely some mistakes for both of us on our part. I think if we supported each other better in this battle, we would have won. If I didn't charge in all my cav like that to try to save those 2 units of Ecochet footmen of my ally, we may have won. But all in all, the attacking forces, the Portuguese and the English, they played very, very well together. And it just goes to show you how effective good teamwork can be. So, valiant defeat for me, unfortunately. But let's take a look at the results. So, thank you to Duzvolt for joining me as my ally, and the Alex Goodlife and Gandalf were the enemy armies. So, looking at Burgundy, pretty solid kills all around, I would say. Nobody faring too terribly, except for the Duke himself. And then for my infantry, those 2 units of spears were pretty trash. My mercenary German knights needed to get more kills. But my Bashniks did decently. This one getting 162 kills. And then looking at the Portuguese, yeah, see, Municipal Spearmen, they're garbage. I wouldn't really waste money on them. Mones Militaris, they're okay, but I usually just try to bring more Portuguese knights. He only brought one of them, or nobles, sorry. But his cav did excellent. And Gandalf, like his cav just cleaned up the battlefield. His archers did pretty good. His billmen doing excellent. All of them with over 100 kills. This one 212. So yeah, excellent, excellent battle. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content in the future. And as always, I will see you in the next one.